In today's lesson, we will learn about conjunctions. Conjunctions connect words or groups of words. Without conjunctions, your speech and your writing would sound stilted and awkward. Conjunctions are either coordinate, subordinate, or correlative. Let's start with coordinate conjunctions. A coordinate conjunction connects words or groups of words that are independent of each other. In other words, coordinating conjunctions connect words, phrases, and independent clauses. There are 7 main coordinate conjunctions. These are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. Let's look at some examples of these coordinating conjunctions in a sentence. Hay and grain are sold here. Will you take tea or coffee? He was pale but undaunted. The teacher replied courteously but firmly. The troops embarked rapidly but without confusion. Noon came, and the task was still unfinished. We must hide here until night falls and the street is deserted. Let's take a look at the first 4 sentences. In each of the first 4 sentences, the conjunction and, or, but connects single words that are in the same construction: subjects, objects, predicate adjectives, or adverbs. In the 5th sentence, the conjunction but connects an adverb with an adverbial phrase, both being modifiers of the verb embarked. In the 6th sentence, the conjunction and joins the 2 coordinate or independent clauses of a compound sentence. And in the 7th example, the conjunction and joins 2 coordinate clauses which, taken together, make up the subordinate clause until night falls and the street is deserted, which would make this clause a compound subordinate clause. It is important to observe the punctuation rule when using a coordinating conjunction to connect 2 complete independent or coordinate clauses. Always put a comma before the conjunction. Let's look at some examples. We were hungry, comma, for we hadn't eaten in 5 hours. The comma precedes the conjunction for because both clauses are independent. Remember the acronym FANBOYS to help you identify the most common coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Another type of coordinate conjunction is the conjunctive adverb. Conjunctive adverbs are classed as coordinating conjunctions because a conjunctive adverb is a type of adverb that joins together 2 independent clauses or sentences. Some examples of conjunctive adverbs are however, moreover, therefore, nevertheless, notwithstanding, furthermore, and consequently. Conjunctive adverbs are used mostly for transition, whether from sentence to sentence or from one paragraph to another. Let's look at an example. I went to the mall after work. However, I did not find what I was looking for. In this example, the conjunctive adverb, however, is used as a transition to coordinate 2 independent clauses. I went to the mall after work. I did not find what I was looking for. Let's look at another example. The album sold over 1 million copies. Moreover, it won a Grammy. The punctuation rule to apply when using conjunctive adverbs to connect 2 complete sentences called independent or coordinate clauses is to use a semicolon to connect the 2 independent clauses and place a comma after the conjunctive adverb. You may also separate these into 2 complete sentences. This only applies when the conjunctive adverb is at the beginning of the independent clause. When the conjunctive adverb appears at the beginning of a sentence, it should be followed by a comma, like in this example. I went to the mall after work. However, I did not find what I was looking for. Or in this other example, the album sold over 1 million copies. Moreover, it won a Grammy. A new parking lot was built near the shopping plaza. However, the additional parking lot did not provide enough spaces to accommodate all the cars. Notice that in these examples, the independent clauses are separated into two complete sentences, and a period is used. The conjunctive adverb appears at the beginning of the sentence and is followed by a comma. Sometimes the conjunctive adverb interrupts the sentence, and you only need to set it off with commas. Let's look at this example. The additional parking lot, however, did not provide enough spaces to accommodate all the cars. Notice that in this example, however, is set off with commas. And when the conjunctive adverb appears at the end, it should be preceded by a comma. Let's look at the same sentence with the conjunctive adverb at the end. The additional parking lot did not provide enough spaces to accommodate all the cars, however. The acronym to remember the most common conjunctive adverbs is THAMOS. By using THAMOS, you will be able to identify the most common conjunctive adverbs. The next type of conjunction is the subordinate conjunction. A subordinate conjunction connects a subordinate clause with the clause on which it depends. In other words, subordinating conjunctions show the relationship between a dependent and an independent clause. The main subordinate conjunctions are although, though, as if, or as though, because, if, since, when used as because, that, unless, whereas, and while. It is important to remember the punctuation rules when it comes to subordinate conjunctions. When the dependent clause is placed first in a sentence, use a comma between the two clauses. Though she saw danger, Martha was not afraid. In this example, the dependent clause, though she saw danger, begins with the subordinate conjunction though, so we separate with a comma. In the next example, the dependent clause is at the beginning and it starts with the subordinate conjunction if. If you prefer, comma, take this seat. Let's look at another example. Because it was raining, comma, we could not go out to play. In all these examples, the dependent clause is at the beginning of the sentence and the subordinate conjunction is at the beginning of the dependent clause. Let's look at an example of the independent clause placed first and the dependent clause second. In this case, do not separate the two clauses with a comma. Martha was not afraid, though she saw the danger. In the previous example, we had seen that the sentence began with the dependent clause and the subordinate conjunction though. But in this case, the dependent clause is at the end and the subordinate clause is in the middle, joining the two clauses. We do not need to insert a comma in this case. Let's look at some more examples. Take the seat if you prefer. Your career will be ruined unless you change your ways. We could not go out to play because it was raining. If you simply remember that subordinating conjunctions that fall in the middle of a sentence are generally not preceded by a comma, or that subordinating conjunctions that begin the sentence should be followed by the comma, you will be okay. Remember the acronym SWABITs to help you identify the most common subordinate conjunctions. And the third type of conjunction we will address today are the correlative conjunctions. Conjunctions that are used in pairs are called correlative conjunctions. They connect two equal grammatical terms. The main correlatives are both and, not only but also, either or, neither nor, though, yet, meaning still, although, yet, also meaning still, since, therefore, if, then. Examples of correlatives may be seen in the following sentences. Both lions and wolves are carnivorous. William II was not only the German emperor, but also the King of Prussia. Either brass or copper will do. Neither Keats nor Shelley lived to be old. She asked me whether I was American or Canadian. Though the roads were very bad, yet he managed to reach the city before midnight. Although he betrayed me, still I cannot believe he says he is my friend. Since 4 is the square of 2, therefore 2 is the square root of 4. If Allen's testimony is true, then Gilbert's must be false. To summarize, there are 3 main types of conjunctions: coordinating, subordinate, and correlative. A coordinate conjunction connects words or groups of words that are independent of each other. In other words, coordinating conjunctions connect words, phrases, and independent clauses. Remember the acronym FANBOYS. A conjunctive adverb is a type of adverb that joins together 2 independent clauses or sentences. It is classed as a coordinating conjunction. Remember the acronym THAMOS. A subordinate conjunction connects a subordinate clause with the clause on which it depends, an independent or coordinate clause. Remember the acronym SWABIT. Correlative conjunctions are 2-part conjunctions. They are used in pairs and they connect 2 equal grammatical terms. They help to maintain the parallel structure of a sentence. And remember that some conjunctions may change their part of speech. A conjunction may be coordinate, subordinate, or part of a correlative depending on the context in which it is used. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you real soon.